Now y'all probably all know Peter Charles, Hook for Life Fly Fishing. If you haven't seen his channel, check it out. He's a great tyer and got a great YouTube channel. But I'm about to take a page from his playbook. Hello everybody. Hello everybody. Welcome to Savage Flies. I'm Matt and thank you for stopping by. So when I say I'm going to take a page out of Peter Charles' playbook, what I mean is I'm going to tie a fly right now that I've never tied before. Now, I've seen Peter do that. He'll just take a fly, a picture of it from the book, and then just tie it right there for the camera, which is something I typically don't do. I need to practice at least a couple times before I do it. But it's getting pretty late right now, and I want to get this video out in the morning, so I'm just going to go for it. So this pattern I'm doing today, it's a Polly Rosborough dry fly. Now we know Polly for his nymphs. We've tied several of them up for this channel, in particular his fuzzy nymphs. He's really famous for those. But he was such a great tyer, he's got a couple of dry flies to his name too. So this one I'm doing today, it's called a Meadow Grasshopper. It's late spring here in Maryland. It's about to be hopper season, so I figured I'd give a grasshopper pattern a try. So this looks like a pretty simple pattern, but I've never tied it before, so I'm not sure exactly how it's going to turn out, but stick around, let's find out. So, normally I say, there it is in the vise, but I don't have one in the vise because this is the first time I've tied this pattern. Polly Rosborough's Meadow Grasshopper. He calls it for a size 8 or 10, and this is size 10, it's a 2 extra long hook, and a gray thread. So this is 70 denier gray. I'm going to just lay down a base, take it all the way to the bend of the hook. Now the first component I am tying on is going to be the rib, which in this case the rib is a ginger hackle. So a ginger dry fly hackle. And you don't necessarily have to make it a small size because we're going to trim it a little bit. So I'm just going to catch this in. See that right there? I'm going to catch it in close to the small end, about where I'm going to start wrapping it up. And there is no tail on this guy. It's a grasshopper, so to speak. So let's go ahead and catch that rib in, which is basically a palmered hackle. Now we'll catch in our body. And the pattern calls for a yarn, a cream yarn. So here's a cream yarn. This is one strand of a 3-strand yarn. It's just acrylic. I wouldn't use wool on this pattern. If I didn't have an acrylic yarn of the color I wanted, I'd probably just use a dry fly dubbing. That would be fine. So let's catch this in back to where we're going to start wrapping it. Got a little bit of a fuzz right there. Let's just see if we can capture that. That's going to be fine. And we'll probably take the body about where the thread's hanging right there. So go ahead and wrap your yarn body up. Or if you needed to dub it, just, dub it like you would any dry fly body. Okay, let's catch this off up here with a couple wraps and then trim our yarn. And then we're going to palmer this rib up. I'm going to wrap it the same way I did with the body. And that way maybe some of these will fall into the grooves. If not, I wouldn't worry about it. We are going to trim this in just a second anyway. Okay, let's catch this hackle rib off. Does remind you a little bit of a stimulator right there, but it's not going to. I'm going to go ahead and put a half hitch right here just because. Whoa! I let some of that slip, but I'm keeping tension on my thread so that I will not blow it totally. Okay, is that still on there tight enough? Yeah, that is. We're fine. And don't worry about that mess up front because we've got a hackle and a wing that is going to be fine. So I'm just putting a half hitch right there so that I can spin this around and trim it. Okay, so I'm just going to trim it fairly short all the way around all sides. Okay, there we go. I guess it's a good thing I'm not a barber because that looks a little bit crazy. but it's going to serve the purpose we need. So let's see, the next component, we've got a small underwing and then the overwing, which is going to be mottled turkey quill. But the underwing is yellow bucktail tied very sparsely. So let's take a small clump of some yellow bucktail. I'm going to do about this much right there, not much at all. I'm just going to catch it in right on top. Do a pinch wrap right there. And then a few more, just try to keep it on top. Okay. I think that's going to be fine. We got a little mess to clean up in the front of it. And I need to take it a little farther back because we got a pretty big hackle, big collar hackle we're going to put up front. So I'm going to take this back, keep it on top to maybe right there. Okay, I think that's going to be fine. And as best as I can tell, the picture, it looked like you got a mottled turkey quill slip and it was either laying flat on top just like that or possibly folded over tent style. So I'm going to fold it over in a tent and just kind of lay it right on top of that yellow bucktail right there. Just, you know, maybe slightly longer than the hook, the bend of the hook. So I'm wrapping this with the wrong hand, but why not? It worked. Okay, there's my wing. That's pretty much what I want, and I like that angle. So take a couple more securing wraps right here. We'll cut off this front. Now we should have plenty of room for a pretty big front hackle. Let's just smooth this out right here. So it'll make the wrap and hackle just a little bit easier. Okay, that's a smooth enough front end. And the hackle on this, it's that same ginger we just used for the rib and the body, plus a grizzly. So I've got two laying right on top of each other. And these, you know, size them to match the hook. You want the front hackle to be maybe a hook gap and a half. So let's go ahead and catch these in. I want to catch them both in at the same time. Just try to pull them up. Okay, that's going to be fine right there. Get a little bit of an angle, help that first wrap off. Several securing wraps. Now we'll just bend these back so I can snip them off and hopefully not crowd my eye. All right, let's do this. Leave our thread up here, and that's about how much hackle I'm going to want. So, question is, do I wrap them both at the same time or one at a time? Well, it's getting late and I want to get this video done, so I'm going to wrap them both at the same time. We'll see how it works. My goal here is kind of to keep them coming out perpendicular. Okay, I think that is, and I don't want to go another wrap because I would start to really crowd my eye, and I think that is enough hackle right there. With some floating, this thing's going to float all day. So 2 wraps to secure these feathers right here, and let's get in here and trim them as close as we can. Okay, get the scraps out of the way. Now let's push it back and build just a little bit of a head. I don't want a big head, it's a dry fly, and I don't want these fibers swept back. So just a few extra wraps right here. You know, I've got one little crazy sticking forward. Can I bury that, or am I gonna have to trim it? I think I buried it just fine. Okay, let's grab our whip finish tool, or do it by hand, however you prefer. I'm gonna use the tool. Probably a 4-turn, because I am gonna use a small drop of head cement on this guy. Let's get in here and just, oh, I'm gonna poke that through. And there we go. Polly Rosborough's Meadow Grasshopper. So a pretty simple pattern. I think it turned out okay. I might tie a few more of these and try them this spring when it becomes terrestrial season. So that's it, my friends. I hope you liked it. I appreciate you watching. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.